What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And in this video, we're going to be recapping game 3 of the AHL Western Conference Final. Unfortunately, the Abbotsford Canucks drop game 3 by a score of 5-2. So it looks like the lucky hat ain't so lucky anymore, which is a drag. But, Abbotsford Canucks are still up 2-1 in the series. We have game 4 happening tomorrow. And guys, Abbotsford is still great. And we're going to break it down for you and recap game 3 right now. So stay tuned. Let me hit the intro. What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And as I mentioned, we're going to recap game 3 of the AHL Western Conference Finals. But before we do so, and despite the loss for the Abbotsford Canucks, they're still awesome. They're still keeping us intrigued and interested. I'll admit I'm more interested in the Abbotsford playoff run than the actual Stanley Cup Finals. I really couldn't care less about Stanley Cup Finals, with it being a rematch of last season. And despite me having interest last season because of really wanting the Oilers to lose after they eliminated the Canucks, and also the whole Roberto Luongo factor, him finally getting a ring. I mean, as much as I would love to see Luongo get another ring, all my focus, all my attention, all my interest is on the Abbotsford Canucks because they're awesome, they're great, and you know who else is awesome? My sponsor of this video, Gassy Jack Art. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Gassy Jack Art and let you guys know who Gassy Jack Art is. Now, it's a guy named Jack. Gassy Jack Art is just his company, and he produces hockey prints on archival paper and canvas that have been rated to last over 100 years. Their product range features a variety of players from different teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche, and your Vancouver Canucks, as well as more. They also have some non-hockey related prints as well. So you should definitely check them out, gassyjackart.com. Right now, they have a end of season sale where you can buy 4 prints and get 2 free. So basically, you buy 4, you're only paying technically for 2. So go ahead and check them out. Gassy Jack Art. Get some prints. If you're feeling generous, get some canvas prints. You're not going to regret that decision. Go ahead and get yourself some Gassy Jack Art. And as I mentioned, you won't be disappointed at all. But let's go ahead and dive right into the recap. Obviously, this article is brought to us, and the whole breakdown is brought to us from our friends at Canucks Army, in particular, Dave Hall. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. After the Abbotsford Canucks managed to fend off most of the Texas Stars' top guns for 2 games, the sharpshooters were hungry for revenge in Game 3. Back in the muggy atmosphere of Cedar Park, Texas, the home team came out firing, erupting for 5 goals, 4 on special teams, to overwhelm goaltender Artur Silovs and hand the Canucks their first loss of the series. And finally, it was the big names who delivered, with Matej Blumel, Justin Hurcowen, and Cole Lind combining for 4 points and 16 shots to fuel a 5-2 smack. A wild 5-goal first period set the tone, and though the Canucks trailed by just 1 after 20 minutes, their play fizzled as Texas fed off the home crowd. Credit goes to Remy Poirier, the Stars' netminder, for his efforts, but Abby just never seemed to click their A game throughout this game. Of course, for the only team still standing after 4 grueling rounds of playoff hockey, an off night felt inevitable at some point. But the Canucks are no stranger to adversity. With Game 4 looming Wednesday night, you can expect the Canucks to respond as they have for months, regroup, refocus, and come out swinging to reclaim their series edge. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for this game. After seeing just a few shifts back from injury, Atu Ratu left Game 2 midway through the first period and never returned. As expected, he was absent for Game 3 with no update on his status. Drawing back in the lineup is Ty Glover, who slotted back into his usual spot on the fourth line. The only change in the line combinations came on that very same fourth line, where Jujhar Khaira and Chase Waters swapped roles. And of course, Artur Silovs, fresh off his fifth shutout of the Calder Cup playoffs, grabbed his 15th consecutive start to lead the team out of the dressing room. Your first line was Baines, Mueller, and Carlson. Second line was Di Giuseppe, Sasson, and Lacramaki. Third line was Blay, Waters, and Nielsen. And then your fourth line, Glover, Khaira, and Smith. Your first D pairing was Breezewall and Wu, followed by Wolanin and Mancini. Then you had Hirose and Kujatsev. And then, of course, Artur Silovs in net. Let's take a look at the first period. Game 2 wrapped up with a spirited Saturday night brawl with emotions running high. Well, this game picked up right where things were left, with skirmishes taking place within seconds of the game's initial puck drop. Moving on to offensive looks, the night's first good chance came courtesy of the away team, following up a good ice transition. Gaining entry was Jujhar Khaira, who dropped the puck to Tristan Nielsen before finding a locked and loaded Sammy Blais. The Stars' netminder, Remy Poirier, slid over to soak in the one-timer to signal the game's first save. Did we mention that the physicality was dialed in? With several hits in the period, none were bigger than the one dealt to Max Sasson. In addition to the first shot was the Abbotsford Canucks, who grabbed the game's first power play, but not before Artur Silovs left his mark on the early stages of the game, stretching out to make one of his acrobatic stretch saves that we have grown accustomed to within this playoff push. With things still tied, the Canucks special teams went to work and they made it count. Abbotsford would score to make it 1-0. Christian Wolanin from Archdeep Baines and Linus Karlsson. On said man advantage, Archdeep Baines and Christian Wolanin played hot potato on the blue line before Wolanin backed off to the trigger spot. Receiving the give and go, he rifled the one-timer to the far side, top corner, beating Poirier clean for his second goal of the series. Unfortunately, that momentum was short-lived as the Canucks took a penalty of their own, almost immediately following their opening tally. Silovs was dialed in from the onset and bailed his team out of several strong looks, none more impressive than sliding over to absolutely rob Matej Blumel blind with a stretched-out glove. But with Texas pressing hard for most of the stretch, he could only withstand so much pressure. Texas would score to make it 1-1. Cole Lind from Justin Rokawan and Cameron Hughes. With a good individual effort, former Canuck Cole Lind recouped the drop pass off his skate, curled around, and delivered a perfectly placed wrist shot past the netminder for his second of the series. Cole Lind, man, I hate that guy. And to think he was a former Canucks draft pick. Of course, that goal came on the power play, which puts an end to an incredible run of PKs stretched throughout their run. With that goal, they were measly 39-41 for the postseason. We joke, of course. Texas ran with that emotion, grabbing several chances to take a 15-3 shot advantage, but Silovs wasn't backing down, making several more athletic saves to fend off the Stars' push. But again, he could only do so much. Texas would score to make it 2-1. Matej Blumel from Cameron Hughes and Cal Capobianco. After another penalty, Texas's power play went to work and grabbed its second PP marker of the game. Incredibly, this was the first time the Canucks had allowed more than one power play goal all postseason. If you've tuned in to Rink Wide for our post-game show, we've often talked about how the Canucks had dodged bullets with a few of the Stars' top shooters' lack of production. Perhaps we threw the jinx at them because they were out for blood in Game 3. Just moments after the Blumel power play goal, he doubled up for his second of the game, this time on the penalty kill. Texas would score to make it 3-1. Matej Blumel from R2 Hiri and Michael Carroll. With four of Abbotsford's power play unit in deep, they got caught up in the clearing attempt, which sent two Stars on a shorthanded odd man rush. Artu Hirai, who hails from the same hometown as Atu Ratu, delivered the cross-ice dish to Blumel, who scored from the identical spot as his first to double their lead. Blumel led the entire American League in regular season goals with 39, so it was just a matter of time before he announced himself to the series. Scoring wasn't done there, though. The game was making up for the 1-0 result on Saturday, unloading a flood of goals for the opening period. And on that same power play, the Canucks got things back within one. Abbotsford would score to make it 3-2. Linus Karlsson from Archdeep Baines and Kirill Kudryavtsev. Working things around the perimeter, Baines delivered the shot from the top of the circle, which happened to redirect off of Linus Karlsson, who had planted himself in the blue paint. It was a wild ride for an opening period marked by undisciplined calls and even worse, penalty killing on both ends. Although the Stars enjoyed an incredible shot advantage, the game was still dead tight with the chance for either team to pull ahead in the middle frame. But the big challenge ahead, slow down Matej Blumel, who burst out of the gate with 2 goals on 6 shots. At the end of the first period, the shots were 18-7 in favor of Texas. Let's look at the second period. The middle frame's initial 5 minutes saw both teams exchanging chances, none of which were considered relatively high danger. The best chance came by Cole Lind after Antonio Stranges danced his way through the zone using that excessive edge work before threading the backhand pass to Lind. Seelovs was up to task, flashing up the blocker to steer the puck aside. We mentioned that Blumel was on hat-trick watch, yeah? Well, he was dead set on delivering, making a push for a breakaway attempt. Stripping Wolanin at the blue line, he fought between 2 defenders to break through up the ice. Luckily, Victor Mancini, with help from Wolanin, pressure was having none of it. The Stars would find a double up, though. They would score to make it 4-2. Antonio Stranges from Jack Becker and Emilio Pettersson. With a broken Archdeep Baines stick, the Stars turned the puck over and built up from their own zone, squeezing up the guts and past the Canucks backline. Jack Becker took the pass before fanning on his original shot. That worked out, however, as the puck dropped out directly to Stranges, who deposited the easy goal to double his team's lead. The Canucks continued to be exposed, while the Stars racked up several more opportunities. Second periods have typically been a strong suit for the Canucks team during this Calder Cup, but this one fell short with little pushback for the pressing Stars. Final shots after 2 periods were 25-14 in favor of Texas. Let's look at the third period. After a snoozy second, the Canucks needed some life, anything really, and Max Sasson was looking to provide that spark, using his legs to break through for a chance. Thanks to some pressure from Jonathan Lakromaki on the defensive half wall, the Stars forward threw the puck toward the center. Waiting and ready was Sasson, who turned on the afterburners and sprang ahead to beat the defense. Unfortunately, he could not break through for the clear break, but drew a hooking call as he was manhandled from behind. While they weren't able to capitalize on their first opportunity, the Canucks did in the second shorthanded goal of the game, who had that on their bingo card. Texas would score to make it 5-2. Michael Carroll from R2 Hiri. Off the defensive faceoff win, Carroll leisurely gallivanted his way up the ice to gain entry to the Abbey zone. Despite losing the puck initially, Linus Karlsson tossed a pizza right up the gut and directly to Huri, who gave it back to Carroll. Dodging the Tristan Nielsen check, he cut back to fire a wicket shot to the top corner above Seelovs' shoulder. From start to finish, they don't get much uglier than that, folks. That goal summed up the game well for the Canucks, who just didn't have their stuff in Game 3. Even when they could muster up a hair of offense, Poirier was up to the task, but that offense did not come often. The Stars came out strong and never let up, taking advantage of the home crowd to take their first victory of the Western Conference Finals. Final shots of the game were 36-24 in favor of Texas. Let's look at our final thoughts. Sometimes you have to give credit where credit is due. Fueled by anger from a late disallowed goal in Game 2, the Texas Stars, especially their top players, came out with something to prove, and prove it they did. While the Canucks held on through 20 minutes, the game never truly felt in reach for the visiting team. And as mentioned at the top, a game like that was somewhat expected. They aren't all going to be perfect. Bright spots were Linus Karlsson, who led the team with 5 shots and another AHL leading goal and assist to continue his terrific postseason. Meanwhile, with 2 more assists, Archie Bains continues to rack up helpers with 11 in the postseason. Between the pipes, Archer Silov's 5 goals, yet with 31 saves, he played much stronger than his stats may indicate. He made several acrobatic saves and certainly held them in the game if they ever were in the first place. Let's take a look at what's next. With the 2-1 series, Game 4 comes on Wednesday, June 4th, with another 5 p.m. puck drop at the HEB Center in Cedar Park, Texas. Now, speaking of Game 4, I'm going to do my best to try and watch some of the game, but if you guys checked out my appearance on Nothing is Perfect last Thursday, I'm going to be on Nothing is Perfect once again for Game 4 on Wednesday. I'll be in the first intermission segment. You know, I had so much fun hanging out with Russell on this past Thursday that I needed some more. Nothing is perfect, and I reached out to Russell, and we were able to get things set for Wednesday. So I'm very much looking forward to hanging out with Russell on Wednesday, talking some Vancouver Canucks, obviously some Abbey Canucks as well. We're going to talk about that, and yeah, so be sure to tune into that tomorrow, Wednesday. I think he mentioned 6 o'clock, so be on the lookout for that. But either way, first intermission, Nothing is Perfect. Another collaboration between The Line Change and Nothing is Perfect. Very much looking forward to that. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, be sure to, or if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date on all your Canucks content, whether that's Vancouver or Abbotsford, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single video. You can find us on social media. On Facebook, just search The Line Change and you'll find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. Find us on X at Line Change Van. You can also find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. And if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Once again, feel free to give us a follow on Spotify as well as rate and review us. It is greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for me in this recap and game breakdown video. As always, go Canucks go, both Vancouver and Abbey, and I'll see you guys in the next video.